Hello, everyone who is new, and all my beautiful creative creatures. You might hear some noise in the background because I'm letting my cats roam free. Banksy, say hi! So, I wanted to let them roam around in my office for a little bit while my kids are playing and distracted because I need to record. So, I hope you guys will enjoy. I'm going to be talking on two Monat reps today. I hope you enjoy them. I have a couple other videos coming up that I'm really excited for, and I hope you enjoy. So let's get started. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell down below for any upcoming videos. I'm going to try to be shooting on getting videos out on the weekends soon enough. So that's what I'm aiming for, and I hope you enjoy. So let's get started.
Everybody knows what they came here for, and honestly, I just found this filter and I think it's very appropriate because this is what anxiety makes you feel like. Oh my god, it's so cute. Okay, so I wanted to come on here and talk about how anxiety consistently stunts my growth. Like, doesn't fail. My entire life, I have allowed my anxious nervousness to stop me from really amazing opportunities. And I'm gonna bring on Amanda. You guys have seen her on my lives before. Hi, Diane. Amanda's the polar opposite of me when it comes to taking big risks. So I really wanted to talk to somebody who's not like this so that maybe she can provide some perspective. Because I know a lot of my followers, we always talk about anxiety together in the DMs. So as you know, I social sell, right? So I have to use social media as a part of my business. But what do? I don't use it to its fullest potential. Why? Because my anxiety sucks ass. And Amanda's here. Let me add her in while I still tell you guys. What's the word where you're like giving the intro, like the prologue? So a big part of Instagram for anybody.
Diamond, I can't with this filter.
You missed the beginning. I was like, this is actually very appropriate for how anxiety makes me feel.
This is literally do you feel better that you have like a fake face on right now?
Well, okay, I'm gonna show you what I was looking like without it. I just look so pale.
No, you look beautiful. Please do this. I'm gonna have a hard time. Don't do that. do that one. That one's better. The other one, I'm sorry.
Wait.
No.
Okay, wait, maybe this one's good.
Yeah, do that one.
Oh, this one changes.
Yeah.
I can do no filter. It's just no fun. I've gotten addicted. I'm not gonna lie.
That's fine. That one is like somewhat looks like you.
You don't like my diamond tears?
Yeah, no, the diamond tears were freaky. That was like scaring me. I'm tuned in. I'm like, what the hell's going on?
What the fuck? Now what's happening? Okay, a lot of.
Oh, that was pretty.
I don't know how to make it go away, so now I have to keep the filter section open, and
Yeah,
I have no filter on. Anyway, before you came in here, I'm still playing around with it. Okay, what about this?
I love that one.
Okay, before you came in here, I was telling like 8 people that my anxiety stunts my growth, and specifically with this business, because a big part of being a social seller is using social media to its fullest potential. And when we're talking about Instagram alone, Instagram gives you like at least 5 different ways to maximize on your brand. And I probably use one of the 5. So you have stories, you have reels, you have IGTV, you have posts on your actual feed.
Right.
Did I say live?
I think so. Yeah, you said live, I think.
And the one that scares me the most, like literally I'll shit on myself, is these lives. And so I don't know if everyone noticed, but I haven't gone live in a very, very long time. And I had to have like a conversation with Amanda at one point where I was like, this makes me so uncomfortable to the point where like I'm suffering. And
Yeah,
it's so
it's like I can't go live. It's stressing me out. It's not worth it. And you know, I'm always trying to be supportive. And listen, I don't want to downplay anxiety because
I don't think it's a bad thing that we all, I mean, at least for me, I deal with anxiety as well. It took me a little bit getting used to being on camera and talking to my audience in such a way that it comes out right. So I understand where she's coming from. Like, I'm not saying she's wrong in any way. The main thing is, I don't like the fact that with these reps, Sorry, my cat's being crazy. They always feel the need to always be on. Like, always. Always. No matter what. And it's okay to not always be on. It's okay to not be like that. But anyway, the need to constantly be on is always a thing. They have to overcome said blank blank in order to grow. Granted, that those like to grow is not a bad thing. It's not. To constantly feel like you have to in order to succeed in a job that doesn't pay you an hourly rate and doesn't give you insurance, I don't find that to be an acceptable thing. It's not acceptable in my opinion. But that's just my opinion. And it is a lot of work for no reward, and I don't feel that's appropriate. And I just feel it's so messed up that they feel the need to constantly improve themselves when, they're not actually getting paid for the work that they're doing for said improvements. When, at least with a job, when they give you a task to fill, you're still getting paid at the end. Whoops. Alright. Anyway, let's get going.
Anxiety is a real thing, right? Like, it is a disorder. Is it a disorder? A condition?
Yeah. How does it feel to be God's favorite that you don't even know what I'm talking about?
No, okay. I do feel like I struggle with anxiety, especially becoming a mom. I just feel like I'm always honestly, I have really morbid thoughts sometimes where I can picture people dying, me dying. I'll be driving and be like, oh my God, this car's going to kill me and die. And this is just a new thing when I became a mom. So yep. I always have sometimes, I don't want to say evil.
No, I know what you're talking about. You start to worry about shit you didn't worry about.
Yeah, you start worrying and you're you get these crazy thoughts well, what if this happens and this happens? So I can relate in that fact. However, I will never let anything stop me. And I think that is the one thing that we differentiate, because I'm always trying to push Diamond. I'm always
That's what I want to hear.
Yeah, I'm always trying to push her out of her comfort zone and always be a cheerleader, because you need people around you that are going to push you to do the things you don't want to do, push you to do the things that are making you nervous. You don't need a bunch of people that are going to be hand-holding you, patting you on the back and going, okay, anxiety, yes, it's okay, we're all anxiety, right. We're all going to freak out. That's not going to help here. So, and I know the few times that we did lives, after you did it, you felt good and you were like, okay, that wasn't a big deal. We're just on here talking, and right. It shows people that you can work through these things and be okay and actually feel good after.
I'm going to disagree on the sense that if someone tells you, oh, it's going to be alright, it doesn't help. No, it technically can, at least from an understanding point of view. They can be like, oh, I'm not alone. That does help. So I'm going to say no.
Because it is something positive. You getting on social media and talking about anxiety, you getting on social media, talking about building a business, building your brand, those are all positive things that are going to help people. And you're setting an example of not doing things because you're scared, because that's right. That's where people get stuck in life, is they don't do things because they are scared. And you guys, everybody is scared. I've been doing things lately that scare the shit out of me. Literally, can I tell you something? Yeah. I didn't have to. I had the privilege to speak at Cook County Jail. Imagine this, you guys. Cook County Jail, speaking to all the men, okay, that are locked up in jail, that have not been around females. Okay, here I am.
I didn't even think of that. They're probably
God damn. Exactly. Can you imagine the anxiety I felt there, just being around a bunch of men that were locked up? I was scared. I was nervous. I was sweating. I was like, oh my God. I literally felt like they saw me naked. I was standing there naked. But I was like, you know what? I have a message to deliver to these men that they need to hear. So I need to take all of those thoughts that I have in my head and get up there and say my message. And I got up there and they were so respectable. They all were clapping. They were crying because I was able to relate to them about having kids and getting out of prison and staying out of jail for their children. So as much as I wanted to tell my dad when he asked me to do it, no, there's no way.
Well, the statement still fits in, apparently, with MLM reps. From Yale to jail works for everybody. And there's nothing wrong with, I don't know what she went to jail for, but like, obviously she's bettered her life in that way, so it's not like a bad thing. But it is very true how much reps are like, oh, from Yale to jail, and it's like, I don't know if all of that, or like if all of those things are really flexes when it comes to MLMs, because none of those things can help you further yourself farther in life. As sucky as a lot of things we have to deal with in the US are, but in that way, it's not going to be as helpful. But you let me know your thoughts.
Too nervous. I pushed myself through that, and because of that, so many amazing things happened. And maybe I changed a life. Maybe maybe just one of those dads is going to go home and remember my story and remember the things that happened to me as a result of my dad being locked up and keep his ass out of jail. Yeah. That to me is worth it. That's why I have to overcome these fears. And it's a process, you guys, how you build confidence and how you get.
Well, for her to make that statement already, like, obviously they're still in jail, so they can't go anywhere yet. Not to the point of saying that statement yet, because we don't know how long they're going to be in there, but I digress.
Your shell of being nervous is by practice. Right. My first live that I ever did, I drank a bottle of wine, and my live was upside down.
Oh, yes.
Veronica was like this, and I was literally upside down. Okay, so that though, you have to push yourself. You have to get out of being nervous, get out of the fear, and everybody feels it. I just heard, I think it was Mike Tyson who was talking about his fear, and someone asked him, like, are you nervous? He's like, hell yeah, I'm nervous. But guess what? He uses that nervous energy to propel him to fucking knock motherfuckers out. You know what I'm saying? He uses that as fuel. It's about switching it, making that switch.
And honestly, like, it's so true, because as anxious as I am, there have been a lot of things that I'll, like, make excuses for. Like, I can't do it, it makes me so nervous. But then at the same time, I've done some of the scariest shit on earth that I'm like, bitch, like, okay.
Literally the scariest, like, what, you moved to Israel, okay?
Right.
Like, moved across the country, left your job, left your security blanket. Like, I can't even imagine doing that. Right. So you really should find strength in the fact that you literally moved across the country multiple times and got back up on your feet. Like, you literally, every time you move, you get back on your feet and you accomplish so much and you're successful and you're like, literally, you need to find strength from that.
Thank you. Because you're strong. That's what I was going to say, is usually in a weird way, that, like, energy that the anxiousness gives me, there's certain things that I will do with so much force, because the fear of, like, failure is so big that I'm like, no, I have to succeed here. And those things, I will kill it. Like, when I moved to a new city, and like I'm in LA now, I was like, I don't know, like, how am I going to make it work? But the fear of being, like, in one of these fucking tents outside was so big that I was like, okay, no, that's not happening. So I'm just going to figure it out. And I've just done so many different things to make it work for me. But, because you're the type of person that does things that would probably, like, if I knew I had to go speak on that stage at the jail and the news is there recording me, I probably would be like 10 pounds lighter by the time the day came around, because I would just not be eating and I would just be up all night. So I'm gonna.
You would be up there with bags about to die. You'd be like, guys, I barely made it here on this day.
No, right. I would be like, listen, guys, I had something prepared. Just forget it. No, this live that we're doing right now, let me show you what I did to prepare. You see my little diffuser? Okay. Yeah. It's diffusing essential oils to calm me down. And then I have what's this? A stress support tea.
Yo,
this is real, guys, and I feel fine right now. Huh?
How do you feel now that you're on here?
I feel fine.
If it all helps, that's great. It's just the fact of the matter is the constant urge and push that these reps have to do to go on live to prove themselves and prove that they can build this business up, which doesn't have a guarantee that they're going to make an income. And that's what's frustrating, is they are not going to make an income based on just talking online. Would it be great if they did? Yes, but will they? No. They don't get paid for those things. They get paid for recruitment and selling products, which obviously products is secondary. Sorry, my glasses are dirty. And I'm watching my kids because I'm trying to keep an eye on them. Because they suddenly got to the camera, which I now have to figure out how to mount up out of the way.
Right now, but it's also because we're just having like sort of an open dialogue. But before, the moments leading up is just like, oh my God, like, and that's what anxiety is. You overthink and scare yourself for no fucking reason. So I always want to know, what does it feel like for somebody who doesn't have it this severely? Like, okay, maybe before you got on that stage, like, were you nervous? Did you have to do anything to prepare yourself to calm yourself down, or are you kind of just like winging it?
You know what I do? Like when I'm about to, I'm nervous. Anytime I do anything, you guys, even for lives, I get nervous. I know
you go live like twice
natural.
A week.
Yeah, she's a natural. She'll get up. No, I'm nervous. I just did a training there was 50 people on the call, and I was nervous as hell. Felt like my voice was shaky. But when it's go time, it's like you gotta go. I gotta go. It's like there is no other option for me, because for me, I don't know. I think I'm just very hardcore in that way, where it's like, I have to do it. Like, my vision is so crystal clear right now that it's like, I can't do anything else because I have work to do. And if I let this slack, if I let that slack, I'm going to have a lot of things to lose. Like, I have work to do. I have to provide for myself. I have to provide for my daughter. I have to create something amazing. And I don't have time for my bullshit excuses. You know what I'm saying? I don't have time to be scared. I can be scared.
At least at a regular job, you don't have to worry about being scared at all. You can just go to that job, get paid, go home. None of this extra stuff. You don't have to do that. And that's what's still so irritating, and I have to reiterate. They could have it much easier without all this extra stress by just having a normal job. Granted, minimum wage needs to be like doubled at this point, if not tripled. And it's just, at least they have guaranteed, the income is guaranteed, and they have health insurance and all this other stuff. So, anyway.
I have to overcome those things. And like I said, someone wrote on here, she loves that you're talking about this. So I don't want to downplay anxiety, because like I said, I definitely don't struggle to the point where it's debilitating and crippling. But I do feel
I love that comment though.
Yeah. I wanted to make a comment. It's debilitating, not debilitating. Bugged me when she said the first time. I'm reiterating in this comment, commenting on it now. Debilitating, not debilitating. Debilitating in the sense of feeling immobile, unable to move, in a sense of like when you're having anxiety or a panic attack, you feel debilitated, and anything else like that. So debilitate is the word.
Me too. And people people do need to talk about this kind of stuff, you guys. People do, because people do struggle with this, and you have to work through it. Right? You have to work through it, because if you have these attacks all the time, you're not feeling good. I can't imagine that when you're having these attacks, Diamond, that you're like, I'm sure everything around you is spinning, your heart's racing.
Yeah.
It's like you have to.
You're suffering. Anxiety is like you're literally suffering for no reason. Like, I hate it. Like, you feel like you're about to jump off of a building. Like, that's how much your heart's racing. And there's so many symptoms. Like, somebody wrote that they get numb. I get dizzy. I mean, there's so many different things that you can feel. Shortness of breath, feel like you're about to have a heart attack. Like, that's so extreme to me, and it'll be over something like going live on Instagram. I'm like...
Those are normally symptoms of a panic attack, not just straight up anxiety, because I deal with panic attacks. So that's normally a panic attack symptom, when your hands feel tingly, shortness of breath, don't know how to calm down, feels like you're almost having a heart attack. It's not fun.
What the fuck is this? What? Like, it is
so okay, so you feel that way, and you see that you're okay. So does the fact that you're doing it more and more? No, see, but you're not doing
sometimes.
I'm gonna hold her accountable. I'm gonna hold her accountable right now because she stopped doing it because she was having those feelings, like she was gonna pass out, heart attack, dizzy, all that stuff. You stopped. But if I truly believe, Diamond, if you had continued to push yourself to do those things, you wouldn't be feeling this way. I feel like you would have conquered it. I know you would have conquered it. You would have conquered that.
You're right. It would feel better the more I do it. I think here's how my anxiety works. If me and you keep going live and just having conversations about topics I feel very comfortable with, no problem. But if you told me, let's go on here and educate people about like all the ingredients in this bottle or something, then I'd be like, oh my God, you know what I'm saying? Like it's
you know what's so crazy though? Is like for me, I feel like
because learning those ingredients aren't the most important thing that you guys ever learn or are taught to learn for your job, because I'm pretty sure any job will at least give you, well, because it's been a while since I've worked, but like for jobs they give you things you need to do every day, so it's not like it's anything new. If they need you to learn ingredients, they're going to tell you need to learn ingredients. And if they're not doing it, they should do it so they are more aware of what's in it and what they're selling, because then they're not just willy-nilly sharing like, oh, this oil has 100 some oils in it and it's the best, which is like the Rejuvenate oil, which has like 10, I don't know how many. I think it's like 20, but it's not 100 either way. It's just funny. It's things that you think they should learn, they don't learn, which is mind-boggling.
You getting up and being so transparent and raw would be something that would give you anxiety. Like I feel like you getting up and reading
that helps me.
Like
I've been wanting to vomit it out. Like take this shit out of me. It's like a demon that I need to fucking exorcism out of me. I swear to God. That's why I say shit so openly on like my story. Like people will DM me like, wow, I can't believe you talked about that. I'm like, fucking take Emily Rose out of that bitch. Like I can't.
Yeah, that bitch was possessed. Damn.
For real. Like
you got some Emily Rose
out.
Yeah, no, I mean it's
that's why I say shit so openly on like my story. Like people will DM me like, wow, I can't believe you talked about that. I'm like, fucking take Emily Rose out of here, bitch. Like I can't.
Yeah, that bitch was possessed. Damn.
For real.
You got some Emily Rose out. Yeah, no, I mean, it's crazy. And I'm glad that we're talking about it because it's so interesting that, like, you do feel comfortable sharing these things. But it's like when you have to talk about something business related, that's where it, like, gives you.
I don't know, just because it's so natural. But people also, you see, like, people will be so, like, oh my God, me too. That helps you too because you're like, you're not alone.
You're not alone.
Then you have this conversation. Yeah.
You realize you just getting up here, though, and talking about it, but also, like, pushing through that, how much that's going to help someone else who maybe wants to do something, but they feel like they can't. When in all reality, they can't. They just have to overcome all those feelings. And you're an example of someone who literally was feeling all those things. Had to light a candle, had to drink some tea, and you're sitting up here doing it.
Exactly.
So you're making it different. You're making an impact just by telling your story and sharing that, you know?
Absolutely.
Do you feel like, let me ask you this, because I know you wanted to talk about, like, not giving a fuck about what people think. Is that something that, like, bothers you, or you're nervous about people's opinions, or?
Yes, I also have something that somebody once told me is called spotlight effect. I don't know if you ever heard of it.
No.
It's just another like anxious thing where you're so hyper aware of your surroundings that you
never heard of this. This is very interesting. Have to learn, like, look this up to see how credible this is, just because I'm not sure. I've never heard of this before.
Like you basically feel like you're on a stage and everybody's looking at you. And I've been like that since I was little. So like anytime we stepped foot outdoors, I would just always be looking around like, are people looking at me? The main thing I used to say to my mom is like, everybody's looking at me. And she'd be like, okay, like why do you care if people are looking at you? She never understood why I always said everybody's looking at me. Or like my dad took me to Six Flags or Disneyland and he'd be like, go stand with Mickey, let me take a picture. And all my pictures in my childhood are like Like, I would just freak out. Like, everybody's looking at me, hurry up and take the picture. And so I care too much about others. I have to always look around and tell myself, like, okay, he's not looking, she's not looking, he's not looking. It's so weird. Like, I have to calm myself down by being like, nobody cares about you, nobody's paying attention to you.
Right.
So what that does to me is that, let's say I trip and fall or something, the amount of embarrassment I will feel probably compared to somebody who might not have this fucking anxiety is insane. Like, I worry in every aspect of my life about other people's perception of me.
Yeah.
And I have to battle constantly to fight that and then convince myself why I should not give a fuck. It's crazy.
Yeah. I can imagine that being something hard when you're really super hyper aware of what other people are thinking, and then you get in your head and I feel like you question yourself a lot.
Yes.
But yeah,
I even do it in my own relationship. And like, now that I read that one book, that anxious attachment book, it even tells you that people with anxious attachments hyper focus themselves on their partner. And like, let's say if like I'm talking to Manuel and he might just be quiet more than the usual, I could get in my head and be like, is he mad? Like, did I do something? Oh, he probably hates me now.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And he'll be like, what? No.
Yeah, you're creating situations.
Hey, bro, love you.
Yeah. See, people love you for sharing this. Yeah. I mean, that's super interesting. That, I mean, I've always gone through life never.
I know, dude. I know this about you. Amanda is the type of person that can be anywhere. I mean, if I wanted to do a full-on photo shoot with you in front of 10,000 people, you would just stand there and be like you would just not give two fucks. And I'd be like, okay, we got the 5 pictures. Okay, let's go. Like,
right. Yeah.
And you've been like that in every aspect of life. So I'm always like, what is it? Like, will this ever go away? There's a book that I want to buy now called The Simple Art of Not Giving a Fuck or something.
Yeah.
That I've heard so many people rave about, that helps you kind of not give a fuck about
just be
anything.
I think just being unapologetically yourself, right? Because when you truly become like confident within yourself and know that like God made you.
Of course. More of the religious implication again. It's annoying. But also mentioning a self-help book, which is, I hate the self-help industry. It's so gross. It's just, yeah, I have no words for that. But anyone else just like feel like, I don't know. It's just listening to it, it's just like, okay, your point, I get it, I understand, it's great, but can you not try to totally focus it in on your set group of people that deal with anxiety, because that just feels so predatory, knowing that if you think about full well, if these people have anxiety, they're probably not going to go live either, so it doesn't really feel like a win.
How you are meant to be and your personality. He made you with anxiety for a reason. For some reason, he made you like this, and you have a purpose. Because when I look back at my childhood, for a long time, all of that stuff that happened to me, I was like, why did this happen to me? Woe is me. I'm like this because of this. And I really realized, like, the things that I went through, like, God put me through those things because I have a higher calling and a higher purpose. So I used all of that stuff as strength to be better, to be stronger, to set an example for other women that are going through. And let me tell you this, I just spoke, I don't know if I told you, when I spoke to that at the women's prison this time, so many women were sexually abused. And I really saw it in that moment, like, wow, like, this is why I went through what I went through, because they were broken, just like I was broken for so many years, for all of my life.
You're not broken. If you've dealt with SA, you're not broken. The person who did that to you is broken. You're not broken. Granted, can I relate? Yes. But doesn't mean you are broken. Person is screwed up in the head. So, another predatory thing. Going after people that have been SA'd.
Until recently, because I started working on myself and loving myself, I was super broken. And I've always been a confident person. You've always had that, right? I've never been someone, I was broken in the inside, but you would have never known it. You know what I'm saying? And I remember we would always have conversations. And I would always say, no one would ever have any idea what the shit that you've been through. Literally. So I would always cover it up. I would always like wear a mask. And
always so nice, always so happy, positive. Even when it was just one-on-one, you still were not the type of person that was like nice outside, but then like negative in real life. Like you were always positive, and you never like sat and like, I don't know, just like dwell too much on the shit that happened to you.
I tried not to, but I did in other ways by not dealing with it and putting her.
But feeling those ways shouldn't make you a bad person. I don't like that. It makes it seem like you're automatically a bad person in some way just by feeling a negative emotion, when you should be able to have a negative emotion without feeling bad about it. It's not a bad thing, and not to have the constant toxic positivity. That's sickening and annoying and frustrating. You don't need to be always positive. Believe me. Believe me. Growing up in the church and like I never realized that every time they're like, oh, turn all this over to God and you'll feel better. And it's like, well, but then you never encourage like real therapy by a therapist that's not through the church or whatever. So no. And to have whatever you're going through basically be pushed to the side, because if you're feeling negative feelings, it's wrong. When it shouldn't be like that. You should be okay to have negative feelings. That's not a bad thing. Negative feelings are just that. It's a feeling. Sometimes it goes away. Sometimes it's a little bit longer, but it's okay to be in those feelings for that moment. And whatever. If you have to process it, that's how you process it for a little bit. But it's not a bad thing.
Avoiding it, by always being happy and never truly like being unhappy and being like, this is fucked up. You need to deal with this. You need to have these conversations with people. It showed up in different ways. And that's why I was like super self-destructive, because as much as I was happy and fun and, you know, everyone's biggest cheerleader and nice to everybody, I was self-sabotaging myself. I made a lot of poor decisions. And you know that. You saw me during that time. Drinking, I was partying, I was just not making the best decisions, dating people for the wrong reasons. So because I've went through all of that and I've come out of it, I've learned, I've grown, I'm able to use that and help other women. So like God has put you through this anxiety, this I don't even want to say like debilitating. I feel like we just need to scratch that debilitating word, because you're not debilitated. You can conquer and overcome anything. You are strong. Okay, you are strong. You're not crippled. You don't have crippling anxiety. Like we got to take that narrative out. You know what I'm saying? Because
and don't speak it, because the more you convince yourself, you speak it, you convince yourself of it.
It's perpetuating that feeling. You know what I'm saying? It's like if you wake up in the morning and you look in the mirror and you say you're fat, well, guess what? You're going to be fat. You're going to keep eating fattening food. You're just going to be a fat ass because you're just going around.
Is that why I'm not losing weight?
Probably, because you're like, I'm fat. Oh, well, here's a cookie. I'm fat. Oh, I'm fat. Well, I'm fat. So this is it. I'm fat.
I fucking love you.
But it's true. It's so true. Like what you speak is what you put out. What you speak is what is so funny?
You.
I wish it was that simple, because if we always spoke stuff, regardless of if it's negative or a moment that we feel fat, and it actually came out after we say it the way they are interpreting it, and especially in that, I have no words. It's just the fact that if that were true, granted, I won $1 million. Can I speak that enough? Will it come to me if I do? Because that would be great.
I'm like, what am I missing here?
You're like, here's a cookie.
Right. And we've all been there. But I'm saying what you are, what you believe of yourself is eventually who you are going to be. Your words, whoever just said, your words truly have power. So little things, and I'm not a psychiatrist, so I'm not sitting up here telling people how to fix their anxiety here, but little things that you can do to help you with take anxiety out, just to work on your self-confidence, to work on your self-love, is wake up in the morning, instead of saying I'm fat, say I'm worthy, I'm loved, this is my body is banging. Because you know what, start speaking that into existence, your actions will start aligning with that mindset that you're changing and that you're working on. So it all ties in together. So I think we can change the vocabulary, we can change the narrative, we can work through.
I'm not saying speak better of yourself is a bad thing. That's not bad. That's helpful. Yes, but like I feel and I've experienced that those who speak like saying like I am amazing and like in reality they have a crappy personality and they're crappy people and they believe it after a while, most times they become like the most annoying people in the world. But that's just my opinion. You don't have to agree with it, but for me, I don't want to be around them. Don't care who they are. So that is irritating. No. No, 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 no. Not every aspect of telling yourself something is always going to be true. Telling yourself yada yada, and then some, if you say like, oh, I've never hurt anybody, but you wouldn't know that because they never told you. That doesn't mean you've never hurt anybody, it just means they never told you. You can't go on living like, oh, I never hurt anybody in my life and everybody gotta stop bullying me or whatever. Like, no. We are all capable of hurting people. We have to acknowledge it. We're not always right. Drop that narrative, because sometimes it's true. People just, it's not the truth.
The things that scare you, little things, I'm going to encourage you, Diamond. People want to see you back on here. You have value. You have something to offer to people, and you're doing yourself the purpose. Your purpose. You're not reaching your purpose and using your power like you should be.
You are right, and you always hold me accountable, and I'm not going to sit here on Beyonce's internet and lie, okay? I know that this is all facts, and I plan to use all of the Instagram features a lot more than just my story. I need to get on top of it with my content now that I have more time in my day, okay? I'm saving this here so that it can be documented.
Yeah, save this shit. And you guys, listen. We all struggle with things, you know, like nobody sits up, and that's why I love like having real and raw conversations. I'd rather sit up here and talk about this all day than shampoo. Let me just keep it like, I'd rather have a real conversation. But when you have these
that's what your job is about.
Conversations, it just shows you like people are struggling, people are going through things. You have to work through it, and it's gonna be okay. Hold yourself accountable, push through the fear, push through the obstacles.
Amen.
And live your life.
Amen. And I just want to close out and say thank you so much to everybody that's been commenting and opening up as well. Because, like, I know that sometimes it's scary to even just leave a comment like that. So I appreciate all of the real and raw conversations I always have on here in my DMs or wherever about mental health. And I plan to do this a lot more. Thank you, Amanda, for joining me. I love you. Such a badass. Keep being a badass.
You're amazing. Thank you, babe. Love you.
Love you. Bye.
All right, so that was that. That was a interesting set of events to talk about, besides not being about shampoo, because, you know, why would you talk about your job being your job? I know, surprising. Because shampoo is secondary. Remember, guys, it's secondary to, or third, really, self-help and going live. And other, it's a lot. It's just silly. But you let me know what your thoughts are down below. And don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell down below for new videos. I'm going to try to get some stuff uploaded for the weekends more often as well. I'm not guaranteeing every weekend, but I'm trying to do weekends now and then as well. So I hope you like it, and I will see you soon. Bye.